joining me is Saudi artist and actress Fatima al-Banawi. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on Middle East Matters.
Thanks for hosting me.
Fatima, you're in Paris for the Arab Film Festival, and there seem to be around 15 films that are on display at the moment, 3 of them in competition.
That's true.
I feel like we haven't really heard about or seen many Saudi movies. Is this a new phenomenon?
It's interesting. I wouldn't precisely call it a phenomenon. We have had a lot of films and productions happening in Saudi, coming from Saudis, but I think it was targeting more a Saudi or probably a Gulf-based audience, which is why I think nowadays it's more an international audience, which is awesome for us, and we're very happy. A lot of the directors and filmmakers are here in Paris showcasing their films, and it's been a great honor for all of us.
Now, there have been some local film festivals held in Saudi Arabia, but what's particularly interesting is that movies were banned from being shown in cinemas previously, even one that you yourself were in. Of course, that was an Oscars submission called Baraka Meets Baraka. How does that even work?
So how it worked before was that we watched a lot of movies growing up. We definitely were exposed to a lot of Hollywood, world cinema. I've precisely watched a lot of Italian, French, so many different movies growing up, including Arab cinema. But I think more precisely, we kind of utilize the power of social media to share our content. So as I mentioned, it's not a new phenomenon, but we relied more on platforms such as YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram to share and participate with our content. So it's somehow a new direction now we're taking as Saudis.
I want to talk about this so-called cultural revolution that keeps coming up. Of course, the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is pushing for some reforms, cultural ones, social ones. But when we look at it from a Western perspective, or even many countries in the region, they still feel very minute to us, something as simple as driving. Are things beginning to change?
They're definitely changing. Not beginning anymore. They are happening, and change has happened. Driving has only taken place this week or last week, and it's been a great impact on family members, on family dynamics, on social exchanges, and it's just beautiful to witness them, to be part of them. And the most important thing for me personally is to tap on previously untapped aspects of our society and of our culture and heritage, and create them or produce them in art productions. I think that's something that keeps me, wakes me up in the morning and forces me to move on and produce and share.
I'm a little bit like you. I'm forever the optimist, but I think it's difficult to ignore that, some of these women that have pushed for some of these changes, especially when it comes to driving, the activists are still behind bars.
I think there are some changes happening, and when it comes to, certain aspects of these changes or who's responsible for them, I'm not in position to speak on their behalf or to speak on the government's behalf. It's not my specialty. I work with art and culture, and that's, as I mentioned, what wakes me up in the morning.
Let's hone in on that then.
Yes.
So with your art, of course, you are using influences from Saudi Arabia, trying to bring them over to Europe. Tell us a little bit about that.
I think I personally work with storytelling. I believe that stories connect us as humans, as Saudis, as French, as, whatever nationality, gender, race you come from. Storytelling connects. And that's what I continuously try tapping on. Whether it's a film festival that brings the story outside to the world, or it's an art exhibition, I work with both. That's why sometimes I work or take the hat of an actor, of a director, but also as an artist. And I would aspire to always connect humans through storytelling, to share our experiences through exchanging experiences and stories and narratives, owning our intimate moments and our vulnerable moments and of our imperfect moments, because this is just universal, I presume.
Now, what's interesting is that, of course, you've studied abroad, you've lived abroad, but you very much, for the time being, certainly have decided to stay in Jeddah. And the question for me, to an artist, is would you not want to leave that in terms of wanting to spread your wings and express your freedom without having to be censored still to an extent, because that is going on?
Yeah. I think my constant number one support has been my family and my dear friends, my community. And without them, so much would be difficult. So my work is honored today in Paris and is viewed by so many different people because of its content, because it comes from its home. It doesn't come from its neighbor. It comes from its original storyteller. And the storytellers are Saudis. I like to be personal with them, directly engage with my community. And if I live abroad or have chosen to live abroad, it would have been different. My work would have been, I would say, less original. I'm always with originality and owning your narrative and going to the person to speak to the person about their story, and not sort of resorting to a different medium or different intermediate between the two. If I want to do work about Saudis, then it's going to be with Saudis, and that's why
staying put in Saudi Arabia for the time being. Fatima al-Banawi, thank you very much for speaking to us here on Middle East Matters.